I keep telling my American friends, if you think of Donald Trump as only something that is happening inside the United States, you're missing it. Because there are Trump-like events happening across the Western world, in the former Warsaw Pact countries. You see it in France and in Germany and in places like smaller countries like Austria, the Netherlands. Canada has, to date, escaped these trends that have touched so many other countries for three big reasons. The first is that Canada was touched more lightly by the Great Recession than almost any other developed country. Canada was the first country to return to pre-crisis levels of employment, the first developed country to return to pre-crisis levels of output. So it did that remarkably fast. The Great Recession was a painful event here, but it was not a cataclysmic event. I think the second reason is Canada, when you look at the different income levels and compare them across the OECD, Canada's had about the best performing middle class. Germany and Australia are also in the mix. Everybody else is far behind. Canadians, earning about the center income have since from 2000 to 2015 gotten better off, which is not the case in the United Kingdom or the United States. So that sense of optimism, a belief that the system is working, that's very true for a lot of middle class Canadians. And the last thing is I think Canada's had a uniquely successful experience with immigration. Immigration is the trigger to a lot of these authoritarian populist movements. Where immigrants seem to cluster in compact groups, where they all seem to speak the same language or have the same origin, where they present any kind of national security threat, where they seem to use more than their share of collective resources, you get a lot of resentment. In Canada, none of those conditions are true. Canada is taking a lot of immigrants, but they come from a lot of different places. They tend to arrive in the top half of the income distribution, so they kick in more than they take out. And there has been very little experience of political radicalism or lawlessness. I don't think that's in the nature of things. I think that there's some good luck there. What happened in the Great Recession, that was mostly luck. There's some good policy. That's why the Canadian middle class has done well. There's some very good policy, which is why immigration has been a success in Canada in a way it hasn't been in other countries. But all of these things can be tampered with. It really worries me that the present federal government is talking about doubling immigration flows. I think they're tempting fate there. When your policy is working, you don't say, let's do twice as much of it and see if it works twice as well. I think you sort of say, okay, steady as she goes.